So I debated one of the more stupider LeBron James fans that you could ever come across on YouTube or any other platform, right? And I debated a lot of bronzesexuals, right? A lot of bronzesexuals that don't know anything about the basketball and willing to sit there and protect their king, LeBron James, right? And this guy named GOAT James Kindle, right? The amount of things that he was saying, I was like, bro, that's worse than anything like Ghost Town was sitting there and saying. Ghost Town, he don't know anything about basketball, right? And he is a bronzesexual, right? He's the leader of the Bronzesexual Club. But I'm telling you, this guy is actually stupid, bro. Like, he is actually stupid. He don't know what is he talking about, man. Let's take a listen.
Achieved in 2011, sir. The Heat overachieved in 2011, sir. They were not even supposed to be in the finals. They were 1-7 versus Boston and Chicago that season. In fact, they had an under 500 record versus 500 teams during the regular season that year. And they were not supposed to beat Chicago. They were not supposed to beat Boston, and they did both. So they overachieved. So let's continue on.
Bro, to sit there and say that the 2011 Miami Heat overachieved is probably the more better stupid takes that I've ever heard. First of all, you had a top 3 player in D Wade, who LeBron James joined to, right? And LeBron James was like the consistent best player in the world by that time in 2010 to 2011 as well. You joined one of the better power forwards of the league in Chris Bosh, right? LeBron James sat there and said not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6. Basically putting the expectation to win a championship almost every year, because you give LeBron James this talent with a top 3 player in D-Wade, the expectations to win a championship, right? Then he lied. He said that Miami Heat has a losing record against teams above 500. That is a lie. They were literally 21-19 against teams above 500. So he lied off of that, right? Then he lied talking about sitting there saying that the Miami Heat was not the favorites to come out the Eastern Conference. That is also a lie as well. They were the favorites to come out the Eastern Conference because a lot of people had the Miami Heat going to the NBA Finals and winning, right? They were the preseason favorites to win a championship. You go to any analyst, any betting odds, those are factually correct. And overachieving applies that if you have less talent and you achieving to your expectations, right? The Miami Heat had the more top-end talent in a weak Eastern Conference. So how is they overachieving, getting to the finals and absolutely collapsing face first on a face, right? What he's trying to do is rewrite history, right? The Miami Heat was overwhelmingly the favorites to win a championship, especially when they went against the Dallas Mavericks, when they were more talented than the Dallas Mavericks and they had more top-end talent. The expectation to win a championship when you join two forces like D Wade and LeBron James in their primes to be able to win a championship. And LeBron James choked, right? To sit there and think that LeBron James did not choke in 2011 is a terrible, and I mean terrible, take. If he thinks that a guy that is considered the best player in the world didn't choke, right? And he couldn't solve a 2-3 zone defense. He was standing still on the weak side, couldn't slash, didn't have the added dimension in this game to be able to cut in the middle of the basket. When he averaged less than 2 points in the fourth quarter, scored below 10 points in one of those games, I believe it was game 4 in 2011 finals, when LeBron James couldn't crack the zone, when he was deferring on smaller players. That is literally a choke job, right? But according to him, this guy choked.
88 Michael Jordan is the biggest choke. Are we serious?
In NBA history.
Why?
Because you ain't never gonna have a player in NBA history who was the league MVP, who was defensive player of the year, the real fake defensive player of the year because he had fake defensive stats. The guy that was the scoring champ. He was all NBA first team, all defensive first team. He was all of this stuff and then lose to a team that had no all NBA players on their roster, no all defensive player on their roster, and choke up 3 straight games versus the team. Not only did he choke in 88 versus that same team, he went and choked against them again in 89, and he choked again in 1990 versus the same team, same defense, same strategy. All his numbers dropped. His points per game dropped. His assists per game dropped.
So according to him, Michael Jordan choked in 88 against the Detroit Pistons, right? Because his regular season average went down, right? Points per game went down in the postseason that series. I believe his assists went down. All that other stuff went down. Field goal percent, everything went down compared to going against the Detroit Pistons in that series. Then I sat there and asked him, did LeBron James choke by your logic? Because LeBron James' points went down as well. His field goal percentage went down. The assists went down as well. Did LeBron James choke in 2011? He sat there and said no. This is what we talk about, inconsistencies in his argument. That means that he trying to sit there and say that he holds Michael Jordan to a higher standard than he do LeBron James, right? He sat there and said LeBron James the GOAT and Michael Jordan is not what he think he is, right? But you holding Michael Jordan to a higher standard because he was considered the best player in the world. He was considered the best scorer in the world, right? The best perimeter player in the world, right? But then I ask you, do you think that LeBron James in 2011 was better than 1988 Michael Jordan? You sat there and said yes, right? So you think that LeBron James is better than an MVP caliber player, the best scorer in the league, right? You think that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. So why do you hold Michael Jordan to a higher expectation than you do LeBron James? You know why? Because you think that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, right? The fact that you think the Detroit Pistons is better than the 1988 Bulls and you struggle to name me any other elite creator on the roster as well is crazy to me. But it's the guy that sat there and said that this guy is an elite creator. Y'all take a listen. Elite offensive career that they had that played alongside Dirk in the
okay, and what in 2011?
Yeah,
the elite players that played alongside him offensively is Dirk Nowitzki. Now you talking about just
elite creator.
You said elite creators.
Yeah.
Okay, elite creators that they had on their team was Dirk Nowitzki, Jason Terry.
Jason Terry is not no fucking elite creator.
Jason Terry's not an elite creator.
Jason Terry is an elite creator. If you go look at it,
this is why he do not know basketball. If you think that Jason Terry in 2011 was an elite creator, just stop talking basketball. He was not an elite creator. Everything with him was scheme dependent. They were running horns flare, they were running double drags, they were running Chicago action, they were running stagger screens, they would sometimes run a little bit Spain pick and rolls, right? Like they were running those actions for Jason Terry to get him creative. Look at this chart. He struggled in advantage creation scenarios. If a player can't break down his man one-on-one and force rotation or collapse the defense, he is not an elite initiator / elite creator. His low efficiency in isolation, 0.86 point per possession in the playoffs, 0.83 points per possession in the regular season. Well, this basically just tells you that Jason Terry was not generating primary offense. He needed a screen or already created advantage, which was Dirk Nowitzki, to be able to operate as well. And then when you look at his heavier uses as a spot-up plus off-ball screener, 29.6% of his playoff possessions were spot-ups, 1.29 points per possession, which is in the 100th percentile. Elite efficiency, yes, but not self-generated. That means he was basically a spot-up guy, right? On all screens, 8.6% in the playoffs, 12.3% in the regular season. Again, shows you that he was used in scripted actions like pin down staggers or flares. He was reacting a screener and not breaking down, being able to break down coverage and be able to create advantages at the second level as well. And then he was a below average pick and roll efficiency ball handler, basically as a pick and roll ball handler, 0.78 points per possession in the playoffs, 0.81 possessions in a regular season. Tells you that he wasn't commanding any hard edges, traps, or drawing tasks consistently, which is elite creators do, like the Kobe's, like the Jordans, like the LeBrons, right? Like the Lucas, like many other elite creators do, right? He wasn't manipulating weak side up or creating high value assists out of ball screens, right? Like defenses weren't going under the screens or playing drops, daring him to beat them straight up. Like, come on, bro. Sit there and think that Jason Terry is an elite creator is crazy. If you think Jason Terry is on the likes of Dirk as an elite creator, that is crazy. You don't know any basketball and you're just consistently just talking out your ass, my brother. You're just talking out your ass. You do nothing but better than just sucking up LeBron 24/7 and actually understanding the scheme, the schematics about basketball, bro, and breaking down a player's game. Like, stop it, bro. Bring somebody up next to go against me. You don't know ball. Real talk.
LeBron James was taking less shots than him. Y'all forget that.
That's still not good.
Who says it's not good enough? Who are you to say what's good enough?
So
How are you gonna say that's good, bro? He took 15 shots. He scored 18 points a game.
That's not how that works, my nigga. That just means he had limitations in this game.
Because the Heat were lacking so much.
Wait, hold on, bro. You just lied.
Lacking so much.
Yes, you did. Hold on. Jason Terry took less shots than LeBron. You just lied.
Damn. Jason Terry took less shots. How many shots Jason Terry took in that series?
I'm putting the link in the chat so everybody knows I'm not making
Hold on.
There's the stats in the chat. You just said Jason Terry took more shots than LeBron.
And he only scored.
Jason Terry took 77 shots. LeBron James took 90. You just lied.
Okay, so I got
fucking lied.
Andrew, and he lied and said that Jason Terry.
You got me.